or Press Plaza, and that does not require any city services.
Okay. Any questions?
Nope.
Okay. We're on to items to be presented. We have John Cantalupo, Esquire.
Mayor, Council, John Cantalupo, how are you?
Good, yourself?
All right, doing great. You have before you here this evening the plan that we went over with your financial advisor and your chief financial officer, as well as your city manager. What we've been doing historically is that you were issuing bands, which are short-term notes that you don't have a set interest rate, so it's kind of like a floating rate every year. And because rates are very low right now, the past 2 years we've been taking pieces of your bands that you've been issuing and permanently financing them like you would with a 30-year mortgage or something like that instead of construction loans. So
yeah, just so everyone understands, just explain what when you say band, what that means.
that means a bond anticipation note. So a bond anticipation note is the same as if you get construction financing from a bank while you're doing the project. It's the local government's ability to just do a temporary financing on that for a year, and you roll it each year and you reset your rate every year. So you have interest rate risk on that during that time. Sometimes when your rates are low, it's a good thing, but right now permanent rates, meaning long-term rates, are very low. So it was our recommendation the last 2 years to start taking pieces of your short-term notes and locking them down and locking your rate. It's kind of like when you go for your mortgage and they ask you to do your 90-day or 60-day rate lock. This is like locking it and getting your mortgage in place, and then you pay it off over time. So this financing is through the Monmouth County Improvement Authority. Of many towns in Monmouth County participate in that program because you get the benefit of the county's AAA. The county guarantees all the bonds of the local municipalities that participate in the pool. This is the largest pool that the Monmouth County Improvement Authority's had in a long time. It's about $143 million in this pool. Of that, you are $5 million, roughly $5 million of that total issue. And what we're doing is you have 2 series of bonds being issued. One series is for your general improvements. Some are from 2016, which are just various capital improvements. Over $1 million, and we'll lock the rates in on that, and that's for your sanitary and storm sewer on Springwood Avenue redevelopment area and Central Business District redevelopment area, as well as various sewer utility improvements throughout the city. So it's money that you've already spent through your bands, and Joanne Booz recommended at this point that you guys go permanent with it and lock in your rates.
Okay,
and you get a AAA, which I'll explain that real quickly. You participate in the county. It's like having a parent as a co-signer. Instead of paying a higher interest rate, you get a better credit score because you have a AAA. And virtually every town in the county, out of all the 53 towns, maybe 2 or 3 towns don't participate in the pools. But because of the county's AAA with all three rating agencies, it really provides a great benefit to the town, and you get a much lower interest rate. So,
Any questions? So this will be voted on later on. These things
the meeting.
be voted on later on tonight. I think it's 2/1961, but this 361. I apologize. And what it basically does is saves the city.
We're expecting a fourth.
Yes,
We're expecting a fourth council member,
Yes.
correct? Because we're going to need 4 to vote on this.
Yes.
We are. We're expecting Yvonne.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or Yvonne is arriving.
Yeah, just making sure, because under
not-
local bond law, normally under the bond ordinance, we have 2/3, but then when you do what they call a private placement of a bond, like you are with the Improvement Authority, you have to have a 2/3 vote for that as well. Just making sure.
Good. And again, this is to save the city money.
It does. You get much better interest rates than you would on your own.
Okay.
Yeah.
You no longer have a quorum.
We no longer have any more questions.
I know,
Amy
but you're going to have
just-
to
Yeah.
wait until Amy
Right.
comes back now.
She's going to make sure Yvonne's going to be on time. which is more important to us. We're going to have to throw somebody off and appoint somebody tonight, so somebody raise their hand. No, but John, thank you very much for coming down and explaining it. I know we had some questions about it, and it's a little bit heavy reading, but you broke it down very good, and appreciate all the hard work you're doing with helping us save money by doing this and rolling over stuff to save money.
No problem, Mayor. Happy to do it.
Thank you, and
Good
have a
thing for
great
the city.
Thanksgiving.
All right, same with you.
Okay,
All right,
thank you.
Thank you, and I'll see you guys, I guess, tomorrow morning as well. So.
Yes, you will.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Pardon?
Nope, I said thank you.
Okay.
If for whatever reason she doesn't come, we'll have to table it,
Okay, and then, yeah, when would be the next
December
meeting?
11th.
Hopefully she'll come. We have to have a special meeting then. Okay, so it has to be before December 5th. Okay. Yes.
Well, it sounds like we got good news.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
See you tomorrow.
How's soccer?
Good, we're done for the season.
Okay.
We won a championship, the girls were very happy, so.
Congratulations.
Nice.
Had them for a long time, 7 years. I think this might be the last year before they go to high school. So take care.
Take care.
We're on to Michelle Alonso, Director of Planning.
Where's she at?
Actually, the first item under myself is going to be presented by the Douglas Development Corporation team. I'm like to call them up to the microphone.
Okay.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. Steve Goen from Giordano, Halloran, and Ciesla, Gouin, if you're taking notes. So what we're here tonight is to present a proposed redevelopment of 1201 Memorial Drive in Asbury Park. We have plans over here, and I actually have individual copies of both of those plans that I can hand out after I get done with my little speech here. But initially, this building is an existing, it's an existing structure. It was an old school facility that was purchased by Douglas Corporation. They've toyed around with a couple of different iterations of how to redevelop this property. Now they're thinking that the plan is going to be to do 54 residential units, including 54 parking spaces, and to do that under existing zoning would require a use variance, so we'd be before the Board of Adjustment. And so our proposal for the council is that this property be, it's already designated as an area in need of rehabilitation. It's in an urban enterprise zone now, so we would be able to take advantage of a long-term tax exemption. And the request from Ms. Alonso is that she prepare a redevelopment plan to put this property, to make it subject to a redevelopment plan so that we'd be before the planning board. Get a little more control over this, enter into a redevelopment agreement with the city to govern. Might have in that. So I have with me Paul Milstein from Douglas Development Corporation. He's a principal of the corporation. I also have our traffic engineer, civil engineer, and architect to the extent you have any questions about the project. But essentially what we're requesting is the adoption of a redevelopment plan for this project.
Okay.
A little bit about Douglas.
Sure, briefly. Good evening. Thanks for having us. Paul Milstein with Douglas Development Corporation. So just a little bit about us. We specialize in adaptive reuse. We do a lot of historic restoration work, predominantly in Washington, D.C. and throughout New Jersey, Western New York. We're doing a large project in Buffalo. But we really like to find cool old buildings that have not operating the way they were for many years and try to find an attractive use for them that helps the neighborhood and helps the community grow without going against the grain. We don't want to tear things down and build new buildings. That's not what we do. We like to work within them and find, we think this is a really neat building with great bones. It's a blighted eyesore right now, and we figured that we could do we consider it a small development, but that's relative, of 54 units with 54 parking spaces. It's designed to really be what we call kind of kind of workforce housing where it's not going to have rooftop pools and bars and things like that. It's just going to be a clean, cool, safe place to live that'll have a reasonable price point that I think will serve the community well. There'll be plenty of other high-end luxury buildings being built throughout the area, but that's not what this is intended to be. So we think we can go with the grain here and kind of do something that's kind of neat and would be a little bit something different. So that's our thought. So thank you.
And let me just say, I've looked at your portfolio, and you guys have done fantastic work being in DC and other places, and the buildings are beautiful. What we have here is a building that's kind of like almost centrally located in an expanding place with a lack of parking. So, I mean, the 54 units and 54 spots is probably not something that we're going to go for. How many affordable units are you going to give us?
Well, that was something that we were going to talk about in connection with the redevelopment agreement. We weren't sure what the city's preference was going to be. I mean, obviously, as Paul mentioned, part of this is going to be market driven. So we think the units are going to be relatively affordable comparatively anyway. So to the extent that we
Define that.
Well,
give me. It's easy to say that it's not you. It's
right.
It's me. It's the entire state where it's affordable, and everybody has a different number for affordable. So I'm like, well,
affordable to
show me. I mean,
to,
some people think $3,000 a month for one bedroom is affordable. I don't.
No, we're nowhere near.
Okay.
I don't think we're in that range here with this project.
Okay.
So spitballing it, what are you thinking?
I think it's the 1,500 to 1,700 for a one bedroom. Also, our typical.
No. How many units are you going to do affordable?
No, that's not what
No,
I was
no,
asking.
no.
But we're talking about even the market rate units right now. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, what we're trying to do. Do I need to be on the mic? Are you okay?
As long as everybody in the room can hear
Yeah.
you.
So
Okay.
a lot of our larger buildings and smaller buildings,
The buildings, when you have all those amenities, we call them, with the rooftop pools and the party rooms, you're running about 33 to 35% in operating expenses to staff the buildings and run them. This building is specifically designed to not have all of that, to not have a concierge, to not have a big lobby. Most of these units have their own key to their own door. It's almost like a townhome. It's actually very unique where we're using internal alleys throughout the building so that you'll have your own key and you don't have to go by any doorman. You'll go to your unit, you'll open and go in. So we can run this property with 2 people. This brings the costs down. Costs come down. Rental rates come down, construction costs come down, it becomes more affordable. So we're intentionally driving this product to be very efficient, very cost effective. And I think we'd be in that price range that I said earlier.
Okay.
Yeah, so in terms of an actual number of affordable, deed restricted affordable units, to the extent that we can get closer to a 10% set aside, we'd like to stay around there. I mean, that would be our preference. 0 would be better if we could do that.
And
but I
20,
understand.
and 20 would be better for us.
I understand.
So, right. So,
somewhere in between 10 and 20, I would say, is probably where we're going to land.
okay. And again, I live on 4th Avenue, and 4th Avenue right in that area is very hectic to find parking spots. So 54 units and 54 parking spots is cutting it close. And I know a lot of people say, well, one bedroom units don't have cars. I know some people with one bedroom units have 3 cars. So, it's going to be.
Mr. Mayor, it's true. And many of our projects will say none of our residents have cars, and they show up with cars, and we build garages in a lot of our developments that are empty. It's really hard to nail it. What we saw is we don't want to expand the footprint of the building. We don't want to go vertical. This is kind of what's there. We don't want to tear a building down. We don't want to add building to it. We try to be as efficient as we could with the parking. And originally we started at 150 units in a very different plan. We have brought this way down to try to fit within the box. Is 54 the right number? It's hard to say, but it fits in the building very nicely, and that's the amount of parking that site will yield. Short of that, I'm not quite sure what we do because we're working with an existing box.
Okay.
Well, and within that box, keep in mind the more affordable housing units you do, the more open we are to having a conversation about parking.
Sure.
Right?
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Are you guys coming to the city asking for a pilot or just a redevelopment plan?
Well, I think probably if there's going to be affordable units, we would request a pilot, which it sounds like there's going to be. So we would probably make that request after the redevelopment plan is adopted, yes.
And then the city just putting on your radar, again, we don't have a redevelopment plan, but we also, in addition to the affordable housing units, we usually require a workforce development element to it. So just an FYI.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, all that, the affordable units, parking, pilot, obviously that's one of the benefits of doing the redevelopment plan and going through a redevelopment agreement process so that we can, finalize some of these issues with the council rather than going through the Board of Adjustment and doing it by way of variance. So that was part of the calculus here in making this request. So we're happy to work with you.
Great.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Good.
What's the next step?
The next step would be to have you direct Michelle to start put together a draft of a plan that we can then review with the applicant and bring before council ultimately.
Great.
Good.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank
you.
Sorry we didn't ask you guys any questions, but I'm sure you're happy.
No, we're just as happy this way, please.
And everybody have a safe and happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Hey, Michelle. You're good as yours.
Good evening, council and members of the public. For a few easements for a new development project at 722-724 Cookman Avenue. In your pack, so this is going to be a new residential building on Cookman, next to the alley, that also borders Merchants Park.
The jewelry store, no?
Yes.
Yes.
The pawn shop.
Yes.
Pawn
So-
shop.
Yes.
Pawn shop.
So the applicant is here to ask for an easement for the decorative cornice that's going to hang over the sidewalk. And that is in your packet for tonight, the building itself. It's not a huge overhang on the sidewalk, but it's a slight overhang. Then they also requested an easement for planters in the right-of-way, but I have found that the planters are actually not in the right-of-way. That they border the right-of-way. A flag in the right-of-way that does need from before of the existing building, that the stairway to the entrance is in the alley, which is a right-of-way. And that the applicant or I should say the council should include that, memorialize that, so that's legally in a better situation than it is now. Even though it's been historically used, it's been historically there, it's best if we codify it. And then the last item that may or may not be, actually it's not either, I was going to say bollards, but I believe that they are also on the property. So that's in a nutshell. It's very simple. It's really the staircase in the alley and the cornice overhang over the sidewalk, which is very minimal. It's a decorative element.
And your suggestion?
I suggest that you grant these because they're very minimal, especially they're not the first one in Cookman to have a cornice overhang the sidewalk, and historically, cornices overhang the sidewalk. In fact, I questioned whether this even needed to go to council because it's such a minimal overhang and that it's a historic situation in the downtown as part of the architecture. And again, the staircase to the building for the service entrance has been there historically and will just continue to be a service access way for the retail that will be on the ground floor.
Okay, so what do you do now? Draw it up?
Yes, and you put it on the next agenda.
And we have gone the way of not selling right away, but doing easements.
No, meaning license agreements, but this is again.
Okay, or do we need a license agreement?
No, because it's a little different. It's a cornice. I don't feel, it's a permanent structure on the building. It's going to be the top of the building. You've done license agreements for things that can typically be removed.
Canopies and things like that.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then that stairway has been there, that building is from the turn of the century. I don't know if the access stairway in the alley is from the turn of the century, but it's been there a long, long time. It's part of the architecture of the building. So I am comfortable with just granting these easements because I really feel as though they're de minimis.
Any problems?
No.
Any problems? No. Thank you.
All right,
Just
thank
one
you.
note that given your meeting schedule, you have 2 meetings that are back-to-back in December, the 11th and the 18th. You're not going to be able to introduce and adopt an ordinance before the end of 2019. So the ordinance would be moved forward in early 2020.
Okay, yes, thank you. All right, so
Why? Do you need so much time between meetings?
Yes.
How many?
I think you have to have 10 days.
Okay.
And you're not going to have, you're obviously not going to meet that.
Thank you.
So the next item listed under my name and my department will actually be presented by Michael Manzella.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I actually have a short presentation that I'll put on the TV here.
Mike, refresh our memory. What's your presentation tonight?
Microtransit service, potential microtransit service.
Okay.
Do we have anything in the package about it?
I don't have a paper copy for you. I have the presentation.
Oh, so, okay, I'm looking for something I don't have.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
It's just really a discussion.
You know John Moore likes his paper copy, right?
I do.
I'd like it beforehand. Says it's gonna be a short presentation, gonna take it longer for you to get the TV
No,
to work.
it should pop up. Right there we go.
You should probably put the TVs on at the beginning.
All right. I just want to briefly talk about microtransit in Asbury Park. As you know, we've explored a number of different ways to reduce automobile travel within the city, especially internal capture. Obviously, we have the bike share. We now have the scooter share. There are other private transportation services that have popped up to try and fill that gap. The issue is there's several drawbacks with some of the existing services we have, and there's always a request from members of the public and members of the council to look at other options. Obviously, bikes and scooters are not accessible to everyone. Not everyone can physically ride one of them. We have rideshare and taxis, of course. They tend to be more expensive and generally increase traffic. Pickup, drop-off tends to be an issue as well. And then the other services like pedicab or free ride or scooter dudes or other services that we have that are private are limited in service, meaning that they're usually only focused in the summer specifically. There's a limited amount, a geographical area of the city that they cover, and the hours of operation they don't meet everyone's needs, right? So they're limited in that they're a private entity and they're just doing what they can to make ends meet and provide a service, even though it may not fulfill all the needs of the entire community. So, traditionally, what cities have done is provide a shuttle bus or a fixed circulator route service as a solution to kind of move people around the city without having to drive and park the car. There are some drawbacks, though, with shuttle bus type circulator services. The fixed routes that are assigned may not adequately cover all of the city, and even if they do, the frequency of the vehicles may not meet the needs of what people are looking for. Typically, now what you see in transportation, the environment moving toward is on-demand type services. So if the frequency is low, then people may not use the service because the bus doesn't come often enough or near enough to their house to make it worthwhile. In addition, there's a really high cost to providing a service like this. We would have to buy the buses. We'd have to pay the drivers to continue to circle and waste gas or, if they were electricity. So there's a significant cost with that. Plus, it will require the city staff to oversee and manage that kind of operation, which can be a lot of work and might require more resources. So microtransit is this new trend that's really starting to take off in cities around the country. And the idea is it's basically on-demand transit. So think of like Uber Lyft, except it sort of runs a continuous route and picks up in generally designated hubs, if you will. In addition, these services use mobile apps to hail rides, to provide navigation, to say where you're going, and to provide payment. So there's no exchange of cash or anything like that. And then the other benefit, obviously, is that a lot of these services are privately provided, which means that the city doesn't really have to manage it day to day and spend those resources to do it. So one example of something we sort of already have is the free ride service, which we've had now for, I think, almost 5 years, which is really limited to just the summer, to very minimal service hours, and is not really on a fixed route. It's kind of wherever the advertisers can, request basically the service from. It's really advertiser driven. So it's not providing that kind of reliable service that could serve all of Asbury Park. But the company that operates the free ride, which is now called Circuit, actually, is just one example of a company, and I don't want to say that the city is suggesting one company or another, but this is, in talking to them, this is kind of what they've talked about, is that they now have an app-based service where you basically hail the free ride or the Circuit. Basically, it covers a certain coverage area, and your ride is acknowledged, and then you take that ride. Currently, in Asbury Park, the Circuit operation has 3 vehicles only in the peak season. They do operate mostly 7 days a week and mostly between 10 and 7, but they have reported that there's not always a driver available because the service is only supported. It's not fully supported. It tends to have gaps in terms of coverage. So what a city like Asbury Park could propose is doing this, upping it to 5 vehicles during the peak season, 7 days a week, 9 to 7 at all times. And then in the shoulder seasons, where we also have some pretty high parking demand, basically, the May, June timeframe, the September, October timeframe, still operating those 3 vehicles at any one time on the weekends when the demand is highest from 9 to 7. And this microtransit service, the cost of it would include paying for the vehicles, paying the drivers living wages and their W-2 paid drivers, providing the app, covering the insurance, providing the storage of the vehicles, and of course the maintenance of the vehicles. The problem is, in order to provide an on-demand service for a larger geographic area, meaning all of Asbury Park, and a reliable service, we would have to subsidize that service in order to have some kind of guarantee of revenue for the service to operate. Obviously, the Circuit or whoever the microtransit provider is would still solicit advertising revenue and share it with the city in order to continue to reduce that subsidy. But to really make it functional, the city would have to subsidize it. Now, I think that needs to be weighed against what it would cost us to buy buses, operate a system, pay drivers, pay their benefits, all that. So what I'm proposing is, if the council's willing, to put together an RFP to see if we can do a pilot program and see what we get back, see what it would cost, and see what the companies are willing to provide in terms of service. So that's really in a nutshell.
So how does this affect taxi drivers who have invested money and livelihood in taxi cabs? Is this going to impact their wages?
Yeah, it's a flexible route service, so it's still a route service in a sense. It's not like this service would necessarily pick you up at your door. It might say, at the corner of 2nd and Main, there'll be this is where you'll pick up the service. I think it's definitely providing more vehicles in a continuous loop type service during the peak times. So in a way, it does sort of compete with the taxis, but I think it's supplementing their service. Taxis tend, from what I have heard, taxis tend to take more trips from inside of Asbury out, and this would really be limited to just internal to Asbury.
And
so
these are ADA accessible?
they can be. Christina, I don't know if you can answer that. Christina Bennett's here. She is a local operator of the Free Ride Now Circuit service, who is potentially one of the providers. I don't know if you can answer that question, Christina.
Okay.
I think really my partners from the circuit. Oh yeah, sure. My partners.
Maybe go to the mic, Christina, just so it's
Come
picked
up
up.
here. Come up to.
Sorry.
Come on up.
I want to.
Ella said I wasn't.
Sorry.
There's one back there.
There's a microphone for you.
You're fine.
How's everyone doing? So my partners who actually co-founded the circuit, who is the leader in this space, right? They were some of the first boys to do it. They've come a really long way, and they work very closely with the gem car maker, who is Polaris. So the ADA accessible cars, like those could be modified. Those could be an option, but they're an added expense.
So just take me through this service. You pretend I live on the loop. I wake up and I text via the app. I need a car to hit downtown,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, is it that on demand, or is it I'm waiting for it to loop around and then I'm trying to jump on?
Yeah, I think I'm sorry.
Go ahead,
Can I
you go.
jump in? I think it's going to tell you how long it's going to take for the car to be at the nearest stop to you.
In general-
if not your house.
In general, the vehicles are doing a loop, so it's going to confirm that a ride is needed, and then it'll basically, as long as the vehicle's on the way, it'll send a vehicle and say it'll arrive at your house in 5 minutes, 10
Or
minutes,
not at your
whatever.
house, but at a certain stop.
At a certain stop location, yes.
I can jump in because I used this service just a few weeks ago in Hollywood, Florida, and it's a set area, and that yes, it will only stop in the set area on the route, but you use an app and it tells you 3 minutes away, 5 minutes away, so you have the option to decline that or not do it, especially if it's very far away. But also it's a better benefit than having a fixed. You can have fixed bus stops, which I would recommend we do because not everyone's going to have an app. But also you can limit those bus stops, and so it could be a quicker route because you have limited bus stops, but you also have the limited on demand.
And you're not paying for this service, or you are?
No.
You're not.
No, you're not.
No, you're not paying for it. So it's paid through via the advertisers and then potentially the city.
Potentially.
Okay.
Potentially my butt.
If we do it all year long and with extended coverage, yeah, the city would subsidize
So
for sure.
ballpark, what would this cost, do you think? If you were
I mean,
just
I don't want to
guess.
interrupt the RFP process, but ballpark, I think less than $100,000 a year.
And that's
ballpark.
for 12 months a year.
It's really the summer season and the 2 months on either side of the summer season.
I'm sorry.
I was going to say, and if you don't have access to the app, then you just go
To a stop.
You can go to a stop and hail.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's like this, it's this hybrid between like a ride share and a bus route because it has a little bit of both. The fixed stops, the route, but then you can call it on the route.
Mm-hmm.
is it possible to have some sort of a schedule with, I mean, I know it's on demand, but can you say, well, it's going to be in their area every 20 minutes or half an hour?
I think we can say that it's not a fixed route in the sense that you can look at a bus timetable and say like, okay, at 8:53 it's going to be at 2nd and Main. You could say in general it'll be around every 15-20 minutes, but a lot of the functionality that you get is through the app, unfortunately or fortunately.
Just
Okay, get us more information, get back to us.
Okay.
But don't go for the RFP
Okay.
until you get us more information, We had no idea.
Yeah, we have nothing in our packet about
Okay.
this.
You're
yeah.
hitting us over the head with something like we're already losing money on the bicycles, the scooters, we're not making a penny. And now we're asked to do a third thing where we're gonna lose money on, where like we can't keep on losing money on, nobody's saying it's not a good product.
Sure.
But maybe if we start charging for the scooters will pay for this.
That's the idea.
That is a good idea.
Yes.
But right now, we're making zero on the scooters.
Understood.
Okay, thank
The
you.
scooters are a pilot. They're going to be.
Yeah, we have a
we're gonna
one-year contract, so
redo that.
we,
And also, just while I have you here, the status on electric cars? Share? The car share?
they think by this spring that they'll have someone online to bring that service here.
Okay.
As you know, they lost Maven, which was GM's car share program. They pulled out of the East Coast, so they're working on a number of other providers who might be able to provide the electric cars, but they think they're close on signing that contract.
And the city would have control over the loop, what the loop and catchment area was.
Yeah, we would determine the loop.
If you don't mind, Mayor, I would just like to leave you with this. The city of San Diego gave the free ride $2 million to help combat their traffic problems and shuffle people around their city. So we're really dealing with the best of the best in this industry. I think without a doubt, if you chose this route, and of course if you chose us, a call service would come with the cost of the app, right? So you get the app, but if everybody is not able to access that, that would also be available by phone.
Good. That would be me.
Thank you.
Thank you both. And have a great Thanksgiving. Thank you.
Yes. We're on to item E, review of agenda items for the November 26th regular meeting.
Okay, first is the consent agenda resolutions. Resolution 2019-355 is a resolution approving special events applications. 2019-356 is a resolution to credit sewer account at block 1001, lot 6, which is 131 Ridge Avenue. 2019-357 is a resolution accepting a mental health grant for $114,000, and this is to continue mental health advocacy. 2019-358 is a resolution authorizing approval to add signatories to the city bank accounts. Moving on to individual resolutions. Resolution 2019-359 is a resolution approving the payment of bills. 2019-360 is a resolution authoring the transfer of appropriations in fiscal year 2019 budget. 2019-361 is a resolution providing for the combination of certain issues of a $5,147,697 general obligation bonds, Series 2019 of the City of Asbury Park, in the County of Monmouth, State of New Jersey, determining the form and other details of such bonds and providing for the sale of such bonds to the Monmouth County Improvement Authority pursuant to the 2019 Pooled Governmental Loan Program. 2019-362 is a resolution authorizing the purchase of trash cans. 2019-363 is a resolution authorizing the purchase of 2 new bay doors for the firehouse. 2019-364 is a resolution authorizing the purchase of various parts to repair the Ravo street sweeper at the Department of Public Works. Resolution 2019-365 is a resolution authorizing the purchase of various equipment for the aerial ladder truck in the fire department. Resolution 2019-366 awarding a contract for real property data collection and verification services. 2019-367 authorizing a professional services contract to Sobel for the Mayor's Charitable Foundation tax services. 2019-368, it's amending the contract for T&M Associates for services for via change order number 2, not to exceed $1,000. 2019-369 Public Health Nursing Services, January 1st, 2020 to December 31st, 2020, not to exceed $55,000. Resolution 2019-370 is a resolution authorizing the transfer of real estate tax credit from 2019 to 2020 real estate tax and sewer payments. Resolution 2019-371 is a resolution accepting award of Transportation Alternatives Grant and associated design assistance for the New Jersey Department of Transportation and authorizing signatories. Resolution 2019-372 is a resolution authorizing the execution of a memorandum of understanding between the County of Monmouth, the Township of Neptune, and the City of Asbury Park. This is the ShotSpotter resolution.
Let me ask a quick question about that. And if you go to page 3, as much as Neptune's having it signed and sent to the city clerk, can we do the same thing? Just because I see no sense in sending it to Mr. Capabianco.
You can insert the appropriate city official to be listed for notices here. I know when I addressed this with Mr. Capabianco, he said leaving his name there and email address would be fine because emails would be forwarded to the next city manager in his place after December 1st. But that's at your discretion.
Yeah, as much as Neptune's having to go to the city clerk, so it seems to be like a standard operating procedure.
So you'd like a change to the city clerk?
Please.
Okay.
And finally, Resolution 2019-373 is an add-on, and it's a resolution for the appointment of an interim city manager. That's it. Oh, ordinances. Ordinance 2019-48 is an ordinance amending the supplemental Chapter 2 Administration Section 2-10 Special Duty Assignments of the Code of the City of Asbury Park. 2019-49 is an ordinance, these are ordinances that are being introduced tonight. 2019-49 is an ordinance establishing salaries for certain employees within the City of Asbury Park. And 2019-50 is an ordinance amending salaries of certain city employees within the City of Asbury Park. All right, moving on to the second reading. Ordinance 2019-46 is an ordinance adopting an amendment to the Scattered Site Redevelopment Program Phase 1A Redevelopment Plan. And second reading for ordinance 2019-45 is an ordinance of the City of Asbury Park amending and supplementing Chapter 7 of the Code of the City of Asbury Park regarding traffic and parking regulations. And that's all I have for the agenda.
We're on to matters from the City Council.
Oh, sure. Okay, so there are some complimentary Thanksgiving meals that are available to our residents in Asbury Park. On Saturday, November 16th, the Jersey Shore Rescue Mission has an annual coat giveaway on Sewell Avenue. On Saturday, November 23rd, the Rebirth Church has a community Friendsgiving from 1 to 5 on DeWitt Avenue. Mount Olivet Church has a Thanksgiving dinner on Sunday, November 24th at the Church Fellowship Hall. Jersey Shore Dream Center at Trinity Church has a meal on Tuesday, November 26th at 5 p.m. And then on Thanksgiving Day, Feeding Friends at Langosta Lounge from 11 to 2 on the boardwalk. St. Paul's United Methodist Church Thanksgiving dinner, doors open 11:45 a.m., meals being served from 12 to 2. And then the Jersey Shore Rescue Mission has Thanksgiving dinner on Thursday, November 28th at 6 p.m. Asbury Park is providing free holiday parking this season. On Thursday, November 28th, free parking all day. On Saturday, November 30th, December 7th, December 14, and December 21, free parking from 9 to 6. And then on Wednesday, December 25th, and Wednesday, January 1st, free parking all day. The Asbury Park Music Foundation is sponsoring a very Asbury holiday show at the Paramount Theater on December 8th, with proceeds benefiting the Mercy Center, the Boys and Girls Club, Jewish Family and Children's Services, and it's recommended that people bring unwrapped toys for the Asbury Park Toy Drive, and that is at 7 p.m. And I just wanted to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving as well.
The Visiting Nurse Association of Central Jersey, in conjunction with St. Stephen's Church and our Community Health Center, is having an opportunity for those who are interested to get information on affordable health care. There will be a program and assistance provided on Tuesday, December 10th, from 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. in the evening. There'll be representatives there that can answer questions, and anyone that needs help enrolling, that assistance will also be provided. It's time for the holidays. Friday, December 6th, Fireman's Park, the tree lighting will be, and that's at Main Street and Sunset Avenue, and it's going to be at 5:30 p.m. On Saturday, December 14th, it's our annual Kwanzaa celebration, and it's going to take place at the Asbury Park Senior Center at 2 p.m., and that's at the corner of Springwood Avenue and Atkins, and it's on the second floor. And later that day will be the Springwood Park tree lighting. So please come out and celebrate the holidays. And to everyone and their families, happy Thanksgiving.
The job fair for how to be a census worker is on 12/9 from 10 to 1. One of the reasons that this is a great opportunity for hopefully people in Asbury Park is that they're extremely flexible in terms of hours, in terms of the amount of time you want to put into it. They'll train you. So for example, if you just want to do 10 hours a week, you can do 10 hours a week. If you want to do 40 hours a week, you can do 40 hours a week. It's beneficial for them to have people within the community who are going around door to door and knocking and trying to get this information. I'm going to say it's Hispanic Affairs, but that is not who's doing it. It used to be called Hispanic
Family
Affairs.
Resource
Family
Center.
Resource. It's Beatrice. The Asbury Park is banning single-use plastic bags. Sorry?
Excuse me, I couldn't hear, so I was asking the crowd.
Asbury Park's banning plastic bags as of January 1, 2020.
And there are some reusable bags over there on the table.
Yep. So I want to thank our green team and everybody else who's been outgoing, standing in front of Super Extra and all of our bodegas and 7-Elevens, giving out bags and educating the owners of those shops about the plastic bag ban. And last but not least, and I'm hoping Sylvia is going to talk about this as well, is the holiday decorating contest, both for residential and businesses. The holiday residential contest, you have to register by December 2nd, so tick-tock on that. And the business window decorating contest, you have to register by November 30th. So that's all.
That's it. At the last meeting, I mentioned briefly that the Asbury Park Press came out with Best in Monmouth County. I did not have the entire list in front of me. I mentioned the fire department, so today I have the entire list in front of me. Best Cuban food, one of the best Cuban cafe, best fine dining, one of the best Moonstruck, best French food, best Pascal and Sabine. Best German food, best Asbury Festival and Beer Garden. Best Sub Hoagie, one of the best vintage subs. Best Art Gallery, best Black Glass Gallery, one of the best Parlor Gallery. Boardwalk, best Asbury Park. Bowling Alley, best Asbury Lanes. A place to listen to live music, one of the best Stone Pony. Fire Department, one of the best Asbury Park. Best Hotel Motel, one of the best Asbury Hotel. Best Music Store, one of the best Russo Music. So I congratulate them all, being recognized by the Asbury Park for being either the best or one of the best in the county, and continue the good work. Last Saturday, November 23rd, I was fortunate enough to be invited. I attended the New Jersey State Policemen's Benevolent Association 123rd Annual Valor Awards Banquet. I'd like to recognize some of our police officers who received some fantastic awards. First of all, I'd like to recognize Detective Eugene Dello, who's the third vice president of the state PBA, which is quite an honor in itself. 2019 New Jersey State PBA Medals of Valor. Bronze Medal of Valor, Sergeant Lorenzo Petway, Sergeant Alistair Sweeney, Officer Javon Britt. 2019 Valor Awards winners, Material Service Awards, Police Officer Timothy Griswold and Police Officer Samuel Griffith. And then 2019 Valor Award winners, Life Saving Awards, Police Officer Anthony Fiorentino, all of Asbury Park PBA number 6. Gentlemen, thank you all. Ladies, thank you all. There was a large contingent of Asbury Park police that attended who didn't win, but just to show support to their police officers. So thank you. That's all I have.
Okay, we're on to matters from the city manager,
Nothing at this time?
matters from the city attorney.
And nothing at this time.
Okay, the regular meeting will begin at 7 p.m. We'll take a short recess. Regular meeting call to order. Councilmember Chapman?
Here.
Councilmember Clayton?
Here.
Councilmember Kendall? Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Here.
Mayor Moore?
Here.
We're on to silent prayer, a moment of reflection. Please stand. We will now salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. As to comply with the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, PL 1975, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided in the following manner. The annual notice was forwarded to the Asbury Park Press, the Coaster, and the Star Ledger on January 2nd, 2019, and posted on the bulletin board on the same date. All notices are on file with the city clerk. We're on to the public participation. Do I have a motion to open the meeting to the public?
Move it. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
For the public, if you have a comment, please come to the mic, state your name and address for the record.
Hi, Carrie Butch, 500 Deal Lake Drive. I just read this and I want to read it to you guys because I thought it was interesting. Felicia pointed out that today is a new moon. Okay, so a new moon is about opening up your mind. When a new moon radiates throughout the cosmos, it announces the beginning of a journey. It's the perfect time to let go of the past and to start over. So I want to welcome us to the age of Aquarius, a new administration, correct?
December 1st.
A new beginning. We're letting go of the past, and I'm hoping that this change will welcome real community engagement, real transparency, a real commitment to the people who live in the city of Asbury Park, rather than a focus on folks that are visiting and touring here. So, congratulations, you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Carrie. And before, Taretha, 1 second before you go on. I got to apologize to everybody when I was like doing my little speeches. I didn't wish everybody a safe and happy Thanksgiving. So everybody have a safe and happy Thanksgiving.
Okay, and one more thing. I have a couple seconds left. Don't forget to attend the planning board meeting on December 9th. iStar we'll be talking about the beach club, which is an important discussion. Our planner and our environmental SAWS planner and environmental consultant will be speaking, will be giving their testimony. So it's an opportunity for us to continue to learn, continue to participate. There might be an opportunity for people to publicly speak at the end and comment about how they feel about that one block of waterfront going to a private pool club. Thank you.
Again, thank you.
December 9th. See you there.
7 p.m.
Jaretha Jones, former employee and business owner, Neptune. 4 quick points. Say no to the 1201 Memorial Drive project and redevelopment. When that building was occupied, there was nowhere near the capacity to hold 54 parking spaces. I think density might have been a tenth of that from when it was active and fully used. Number 2, the second request for the Cookman Avenue right-of-way, that's called Kenmouth Avenue, for those that may not know. That is an emergency egress. So please say no to that. And I don't think people are really aware of that. That's for emergency entrance in and out for both the former, well, the Brandles is and Corbos. And then the emergency fire escape from the Brandles building where my family's business previously was. That's a fire escape exit. So that's a no. And for the history, it's called Kenmouth Alley. Number 3, the proposed and potential microtransit services. Please be cautious because once again, it gives the perception that everything is only done for the bennies who come to Asbury Park, and it does not extend and cover the primary 1 mile square area of the other folks who've been kind of pushed aside and kicked to the side. And number 4, on the parking ordinance here, my question and concern would be the changes that are going from Ocean Avenue to Grand Avenue, their consideration for Sunday church activities. There are a number of churches within that region. So those things need to be considered outside of what happens on the Kingsley and Ocean Avenue. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Rita Morano, 8th Avenue. One of the things I want there's a bond issue tonight. Are we going to hear more about that bond issue tonight?
I guess you got here late. The lawyer for bonds was here, Mr. Cantalupo, and he explained it. What it's doing, it's refinancing bonds and saving the city money.
Okay. So you don't know what the rate's going to be yet?
They're going to be less than they are now.
Mm-hmm. You're going to have a public hearing on that anyway, right? The thing I wanted
No.
to talk about, no?
It's a resolution.
It's a resolution. It's not an ordinance, it's a resolution. It was explained at 6 o'clock in depth by the bond
I know it was
attorney.
explained, but you don't hear when they're talking there, they whisper.
Well, in the future, say we can't hear you and we'll make them speak up, Rita.
Okay, the other thing I wanted to talk about was all these committees that you have, starting with the planning board, the zoning board, and parking. You have people on there that, have volunteered their services. They're not elected, they're not anything, and they're making big decisions in this town. And half of them, maybe 3/4 of them, have never lived here. They're just new to the town, like painting up all the buildings. I heard a woman say, "Oh, that's the way it used to be." No, that's not the way it used to be. When Bradley put the code in, he put that all the houses should be white and just the trim should be a color. And now all these places are being painted up. And you have a committee that chooses what kind of morals they put up, the murals rather, excuse me. How about telling the public about all these things? We should have had input on that building right here in City Hall because that belongs to the people. It doesn't belong to a certain few. And I don't know what that is and who it represents. But if they were going to paint something, they should have painted the American flag because this is a municipal building. This isn't a entertainment building. This is a building for serious business. And everybody seems to forget about that. You have all these committees, the parking committee. I don't know, you have 17 of them. And most of the people don't know anything about this town. And they're deciding our fate. And I've lived here for over 50 years, I can tell you that. I'm probably the oldest one in the room and lived here the longest. And I think it's disgraceful that you have all these committees. You're supposed to make the decisions, not these committees. And you go, even the event committee, the events, how much money do they owe? All the walks on the boardwalk, they still owe $30,000. Nobody collects.
Okay, Rita, your time is up, and I thank you.
No, but I'm happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to you. Thank you, Rita.
Hi, Sylvia, Chamber of Commerce. Just wanted to mention the downtown tree lighting is on December 7th. We start our activities at 5:30. I wanted to also, you had mentioned community engagement. I just wanted to point out as far as how that tree gets here and what happens before we have our tree lighting. The fur farm in Colts Neck, they donate the tree every year to Asbury Park simply because those guys, they have breakfast at Toast and they want to make sure that everybody has a beautiful tree to look at, and this year's tree is really gorgeous. First Energy, the electric company, our representative, Frank Luna, I think a lot of you might have met him when you had the ribbon cutting for the station, the battery station over on Madison, or Banks, I'm sorry. He's our new representative, and he heard that we needed to get new lights for the tree because we usually have to do about 30 strands of lights, and that's probably $600-700. So yesterday, JCP&L's representative, Jim Markey, showed up at my office with a check to pay for the lights. So they're sponsoring that for us this year, and actually more than that. So they'll be paying also for the cookies and the hot chocolate that we get from DJs and from the kids at the culinary school make the cookies. So while we were out there today, it was about 7 hours getting that tree from Colts Neck and installing it. The guys from Modine, they saw me trying to clean up the road to make sure that it was left neat, and they brought me out all the brooms that I could need, and then DJ sent out a bunch of coffee for the guys that were helping me hoist it, and the people who were helping me hoist that up are residents of the city who come over and volunteer to help make that, and just getting that thing up. It's 36 feet this year, I think. It's absolutely huge, and several of the guys are off-duty officers who also live in town, and they just come there and volunteer their time to help us because they know that it means a lot, and it means a lot to the chamber and to the community. So I just wanted to let you guys know how many people are involved in making that happen, and hope that everybody will be able to make it out there. And thank you also for helping spread the word about the decorating contest, and to Sonia for helping me get more people, more of the residents aware of it, and they're really enjoying the new category of the best use of recycled materials. And that's everything I have. Thank you guys. Have a very happy Thanksgiving, and thanks for everything.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Ernest McNally, 400 Deal Lake Drive, Apartment 5D, Asbury Park, New Jersey. I've lived there since August of 2007. I had planned to come early and prepare my notes to speak, but I was pulled over by 3 Asbury Park police who got a tip from the Neptune police that I left Ocean Grove, my hotel, and I was drunk driving. So that took me a half an hour out here. It's never going to stop. But in the words of a person I know in Asbury, I'd like to read this. I have just learned of the departure of Michael Capabianco, the City of Asbury Park City Manager, and an old friend once told me, if you don't have anything nice to say about someone, don't say anything at all, or anything good. I do have something good to say. Good riddance. It's a great day for Asbury Park. You know, Mr. Vaccaro, wherever you are, on TV land, you know what? It is a great day. It's a great day for Asbury Park. Someone like that gone is a great day. I've been working on that since the day he was sworn in. How's that? And now, another thing, since I have more time. All these false charges and comments that this board, these developers, their lawyers and stuff go around, these developers who are troublemakers going around threatening people, painting pregnant fish on our houses, who do they think they are? Really, they threaten people. They come in here, they threaten people, right? So we report everything to the police, and you all just laugh about it. And who do you give awards to? Eugene Dello, the most corrupt parking person, the most corrupt cop, the one who makes fun of people's religion, their race, their size, their color, and you keep giving him awards. Well, how does he rise from a dog catcher to be an annoyance like this? That's what I'd like to know. And the city attorney, they ruined City of Asbury, Long Branch, Ansel Grimarin. They ruined that city where I'm born. Why do we still have them? Why can't I get investigations into all the things that these attorneys do in town here that they don't want to admit? They're partners in gin mills. They get COs without the proper process. They open up old gas stations as liquor stores. How do they do this? Because they're who they are. That's Ansel Grimarin. And then we have lawyers on the board who, you know what? Look, you guys got to be held accountable. You do things, you threaten people. You hold protest permits with invalid permits. You put up signs illegally. I don't know who you think you are. And then you turn around and say, you're out of order and you want to throw us out of here. Really? Really? And I'm going to get pulled over for drinking in this environment? You got to be kidding me. You guys are the consummate drinkers and they're going to pull me over? Hello? Hello? You got to be kidding me. Pull me over. Every lawyer in here owns a gin mill. We got 48 gin mills now. You're destroying this city, piece by piece. You built that Godzilla there. Where can we go? We're not even allowed. Look, here's Miss Distraction now. He's always got a comment to make on the side. You. Got something nasty to say.
Hi, Catherine Murphy, 510 Deal Lake Drive. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Two things. One is I saw next door, and I was out walking today and noticed that the construction for the pilings seems to start just to the north of where the proposed pool club is. So I'm just wondering, I did go home and then pull the plans out, or the plans that were submitted to CAFRA in August, the last set of plans, and it does show that it should be a contiguous or continuous boardwalk from where the boardwalk was removed all the way down to Deal Lake Drive. Do you know anything about why there's no pilings at that end?
I'm going to wait till you're done with all your questions.
Okay, that's really that question on the boardwalk, on that. I just wanted to get some clarification on that. And then the other, when they were talking, the developers were talking about 1201 Memorial, did we not, as a community or as a city, decide that it was going to be a 20% set aside for affordable housing for new development? Or has that not been voted in as part of the master plan yet?
That's all your questions?
Mm-hmm.
I'll handle the first one if you want to handle the second one. The first one, I saw it on Nextdoor today and somebody sent me a personal email. I called the city engineer. He did not know. He's trying to get in touch with iStar's engineer to get an answer. As soon as I find out, I will post it on Nextdoor. I don't think it's anything to worry about, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. So we do not have an answer this time, but you will get an answer as soon as iStar's engineer. With the holiday, I can't guarantee you that it's not going to be after Thanksgiving. But our engineer was reaching out to them. I guess I called him around 12:30 today.
Okay.
And then Amy, the affordable.
Yeah, no, the city passed a policy. I think it's on the planning board actually as well, on the 20% set aside in certain areas of the city, and then some kind of carrots that we dangle to have the set aside. There's two tracks that we're moving on. One is getting the ordinances written up, and the other is a declaratory judgment from the court basically saying, hey, we didn't have a new obligation. We're taking on an obligation, and we're really happy about that. That has not moved as fast as we would have liked it to move. Mm-hmm. I can say, as I've said at the last meeting, that is the number one priority of this council, and the buck stops with us that it hasn't moved as fast as it should, but I assure you it will move forward as fast as humanly possible on December 1.
All right, thank you, and happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Peter Siegel, 7th Avenue. Happy and healthy holidays to everybody here. And I just wanted to thank City Council again for establishing the Public Arts Committee, and what a great job the Council and the Arts Committee has done, because they held these public hearings where so many people showed up to listen to the ideas for the public art proposals for all over town, and they got a chance to speak their mind and voice their opinion during those public hearings. So that was a really great thing that I appreciate, and I know a lot of my neighbors appreciate it as well. I hear some talk about 1201 Memorial tonight, and while I admit to not knowing a lot of the details about what's proposed there, I would like to, while my neighbor suggested to vote no on 1201 Memorial, I would like to perhaps consider voting yes, because I am terrified that we're going to need every bit of tax revenue that we can get in this city with what's coming down the pipe with this S2 bill. Effectively, all our property taxes are about to double. So if you feel like you can handle the doubling of your property taxes, certainly vote no for these things regarding new development. But if you feel like property taxes doubling is a bad thing, maybe look into it a little bit more and consider getting some of these new projects built so that we have the increased ratables. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening and enjoy your holidays. Thanks.
Thank you.
Tracy Rogers Sewell. First, I got to thank you guys for the change that I think is going to come. Working together with you guys, and you know, I read in one of the articles that we had conflicting constituency of residents, and I want to say that I'm not conflicting. I'm progressive, and I just want the town to be better. So I'm always willing to work with you guys on anything. One of the things that you may look at is pilots. If you guys want to step ahead, we know we're walking into the situation, and any pilots that you do, you have to take it in account that the schools have to be taken care of. And if it's not, it's going to hit us somewhere in the end. So let's be aware that we're going to start addressing that. And I want to thank you guys for the 1201 discussion with the affordable and being on top of it. You said that you were going to do that for any developer that came in, so I appreciate it sitting here seeing that emotion to let that situation happen. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tracy. Also, one other thing, two other things. The firehouse. I don't know what happened with that situation, and if you guys can explain to us, are we not going to get that property, or are we moving ahead? And also, I just want to also wish you guys a happy Thanksgiving. No, I'm wishing them a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
The firehouse, we're still moving forward. We're looking for a piece of property right now. We haven't obtained a piece of property, but we're looking and looking hard and looking fast. Still running, right?
The fire, there was a proposal behind 2nd and 3rd Avenue for a new firehouse a few years ago. Was there a proposal for that? Or, I mean, these properties, I mean, that deal just fell through because I thought we had a minimum of agreement with the owner. Did that come through, or we're just looking for another new property?
We never had an agreement with anybody, or else we would have pursued it and started building a firehouse. We're looking at different pieces of land, that are available, but I'm not going to say this because it makes the price go up. I mean, so, but yes, we are still pursuing a location for the firehouse. Kevin, you want to add anything?
No, just that the property that TJ's talking about, that was quite some time ago. Yes. I know the years all blend together, but that property has not been available for quite some time. Okay. Plus, there was considerable environmental issues. Yeah.
But that doesn't mean it's off the table.
Nothing is off the table.
Thank you.
Greetings. Felicia Simmons, Sewell Avenue, Asbury Park. Just to, again, happy holidays, happy Thanksgiving, happy Indigenous Peoples Month, happy everything to everybody. Quick question. First is just seeing, what is the MOU of understanding? I missed that part between the County of Monmouth, Neptune, and Asbury.
Finish all your questions.
That one. And also, with 1201, the Memorial Project, I think we have to be first mindful of parking and also mindful of the set aside. So thank you again for even bringing that up and making sure that follow through. And thank you very much for your attention to low income housing, affordable housing, mixed rate, and just housing in Monmouth County, especially in Asbury Park. Because if you know, like we know, there is a severe shortage and we're severely in need of it. But to talk about 1201 specifically, that's I think be mindful of the space, because again, it was a former state building and actually owned by the Department of Education and then sold for pennies as we rent a building and the Board of Education for close to a million or so a year. We rent and we don't own. So just be mindful of what the development is and that effect on taxes for us. Spending that kind of money and throwing it to an endless pit. Maybe we can work something out in the development of that space over there. And that's pretty much it.
Okay.
That's it. And happy holidays again.
Thank you, and happy holidays to you. The MOU between Asbury Park, Neptune, and the prosecutor's office is about the Shot Spotter program that the prosecutor's office thinks will definitely help Asbury Park and Neptune with shootings in the areas, because it triangulates. If there's a shot fired, it triangulates and
Sound
tells
where it comes from.
Like the cops are there as quick as possible, just because it gives them the exact location.
Okay. One more thing, a couple seconds. Our Asbury Park's Blue Bishops AYF team has won the championship, and they're enrolled to Florida. They're in need of support and help to get all the children there. It's very heart-wrenched because one of the founders of the AYF program, Mr. Fambolaro, has lost his life about a year or so ago. So as a memorial and support for the people in town, please look, there's a GoFundMe. They're in need. Let's get all our kids to Florida and benefit and let them laugh and enjoy themselves. So that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Felicia.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're on to minutes. I have the corrected minutes of the executive session of October 23rd, the executive session minutes of November 7th, the municipal council work session of November 7th, and the regular meeting of November 7th. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second. Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yep.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
We are on to the consent agenda resolutions. We have 2019-355, a resolution approving special events. 2019-356, a resolution to credit sewer account 1001 to 1001-6, 131 Ridge Avenue. 2019-357, a resolution accepting a mental health grant, and a resolution authorizing an approval to add signatories to city bank accounts. Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Second.
Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
We're on to individual resolutions. Resolution approving the payment of bills 2019-359. Do I have a motion?
Move it. Second.
Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
No.
Resolution 2019-360 is a resolution authorizing the transfer of appropriations in the fiscal year 2019 budget. Do I have a motion?
Move it. Second.
Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
We have Resolution 2019-361, a resolution providing for the combination of certain issues of $5,147,697 general obligation bonds, Series 2019 of the City of Asbury Park in the County of Monmouth, State of New Jersey, determining the form and other details of such bonds and providing for the sale of such bonds to the Monmouth County Improvement Authority pursuant to 2019 Pooled Governmental Loan Program. Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Second.
Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
We're on to Resolution 2019-362, a resolution authorizing the purchase of trash cans. Motion?
Move it.
Second.
Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
Resolution 2019-363, a resolution authorizing the purchase of new bay doors for the firehouse. Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Second.
Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
We're on to Resolution 2019-364, a resolution authorizing the purchase of various parts to repair the Ravo street sweeper at the Department of Public Works. Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Second.
Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
Resolution 2019-365 is a resolution authorizing the purchase of various equipment for the aerial ladder truck. Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Second.
Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
Resolution 2019-366, awarding a contract for real property data collection and verification services. Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Second.
Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
Resolution 2019-367, authorizing a professional service contract to Sobel for the Mayor's Charitable Foundation tax services. Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Second.
Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
Resolution 2019-368, amending a contract for T&M for services for Sunset Lake Master Plan via change order number 2. Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Second.
Second.
Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
Resolution 2019-369, a resolution for public health nursing services from January 1st, 2020 to December 31st, 2020. Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Second.
Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
Resolution 2019-370, a resolution authorizing the transfer of real estate tax credits from 2019 to 2020 real estate tax and sewer payments. Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Second.
Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Abstain.
Abstain. And Mayor Moore?
Yes.
Resolution 2019-371, a resolution accepting an award of transportation alternatives grants and associated design assistance from NJDOT and authorizing signatories. Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Second.
Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
Resolution 2019-372, a resolution authorizing the execution of a memorandum of understanding between the County of Monmouth, the Township of Neptune, and the City of Asbury Park. Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Second.
Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
We're on to Resolution 2019-373, which is an add-on from the executive session. 2019-373 is a resolution authorizing the appointment of an interim municipal manager for the City of Asbury Park and authorizing the execution of an employment agreement relating thereto. And that person is Donna Viero. Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Second.
Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
We are on to ordinances for introduction. We have 2019-48 is an ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 2, Administration, Section 2-10, Special Duty Assignments of the Code of the City of Asbury Park, New Jersey. Do I have a motion?
I'm going to make a motion to table it because this was started in mid-October, and it's been a nightmare ever since. It was supposed to be on the last agenda, and I pulled it hoping changes were made. It's on this agenda. Changes weren't made, and then it was changed again yesterday, and we're all for it, but it has to be done the right way with some good explanations, not just shoved through. So a motion to table.
Second to table? Councilmember. Okay, Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn.
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Tabled. We are on to ordinance 2019-49, an ordinance establishing salaries of certain employees within the city of Asbury Park. And we are looking at a public hearing of December 11th. Do I have a motion?
Move it. Second.
Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Councilmember Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yep.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
On to ordinance 2019-50 for introduction. It's an ordinance amending salaries of certain employees within the city of Asbury Park with a public hearing date of December 11th of 2019. Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Second.
Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
We're on to public hearings. We have a public hearing, 2019-46 is an ordinance adopting an amendment to the Scattered Sites Redevelopment Program, Phase 1A redevelopment plan. Do I have a motion to open the public for 2019-46?
Move to open.
Second.
All in favor? Or any members of the public have any comments regarding 2019-46? Please come to the mic and state your name.
Motion to close. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, do I have a motion to adopt 2019-46?
Move it.
Second.
Second.
Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
Okay, we are on to the public hearing for 2019-45, an ordinance of the City of Asbury Park amending and supplementing Chapter 7 of the Code of the City of Asbury Park regarding traffic and parking regulations. Do I have a motion to open 2019-45 to the public?
Move it. Second.
All in favor? Please come to the mic and state your name and address for the record.
That mic or this mic?
You're there.
I'm good? Okay.
Yeah, but Mr. Manzel is the transportation planner, so he may be answering some of your questions.
Are we commenting on this diagram?
What diagram?
The ordinance?
The
Yes.
parking?
2019-45.
I just want to,
45, right, Kerry? Okay.
I think you should consider lowering the Ocean Avenue price for parking in the wintertime. Because there's nobody there. Like, I went to visit some of my friends on Sunday morning. Park there, it cost me $4 for 2 hours, and there was nobody there. There was nobody on the waterfront on Sunday, but you charge $2 an hour for that. So I wonder if, it might encourage people to come in the wintertime if there's a less of a charge on the weekends on Ocean Avenue. Seems a little steep, right? $2 an hour
Not really.
in the wintertime?
No, when you consider, and so I'll follow up. The only two streets that are not reduced in the wintertime are because of supply and demand. That's Ocean Avenue and Cookman Avenue. Like you say, you decided to park there. You could have parked 20 feet away and it would have been half the price.
I made a mistake. Clearly, I made a mistake. I don't know.
Okay, I apologize, Carrie. Yeah, I thought you.
All right, so I should have parked 20 feet away and I would have saved some
Yeah,
some
on
money.
all the side streets, the prices have been reduced, but because of the turnover on the weekends and everything, Cookman, and we're
Okay,
looking
they
for
like
that
it?
85% turnover rate, or else, if not, Cookman Avenue and Ocean Avenue will be constantly filled with cars if we keep it at the same, reduced rate.
Yeah, and I think, any of these suggestions can definitely come to the parking committee. We're constantly every year evaluating the rates to make sure that it meets demand, and it's definitely something we're willing to consider in the future.
Well, I can tell you that I used to walk my dog on the beach every day, and I came to Asbury Park specifically to do that. Now I don't do it as much because I have to pay to park. But if I came and you were free or even cheap until like noon on a Sunday, I might even start spending my money at some of the coffee shops and have lunch there or something like that. I'm just saying. I mean, I would definitely shop at Allie's Coffee if I'm
Every Saturday, it's free parking from Thanksgiving to January 1 for encouraging people to come shop. So we'll see you Saturday mornings until 6 p.m. until January 1, Carrie.
It sounds like a commercial, Aim, but you should definitely do it again on Sunday. If it works on Saturday, it's going to work on Sunday. I'm just saying that, you know, the parking also. Come on, Grand Avenue, you're coming up, you're starting to encroach into my area now. Paid parking on Grand Avenue?
That's not in this.
It is in this.
No, not on Grand Avenue, no.
It says Grand Avenue. It says
Up to Grand Avenue, not including Grand Avenue.
I know, I'm just saying that it's starting to go crazy, you know, like we need to figure the parking scenario out, especially for folks that don't have driveways like myself and.
Sure, so let me talk about what is in this ordinance. We actually conducted a survey this summer, the parking committee did, of the residents in these areas that we were considering expansion of regulated parking to. And we only included streets in this ordinance to be expanded for permit regulations for where there was a majority of the residents who said that they wanted it on their streets with full awareness of what that meant. Because what we find is when parking is regulated and indeed metered, you get a higher turnover of parking and residents are able to find parking on, relatively close to their homes.
Okay, right now I don't have to buy that permit sticker, but as soon as you guys extend the parking, I probably will, right? For $100 a year or something like that, for a residential parking.
Where do you live? Where'd you say
I live at 500 Deal Lake, which is right on Grand and Deal Lake.
No, she's not in the zone.
No. It's only up to Park Ave right now on Deal Lake Drive.
Right. So when you start moving up, it's going to be. Rita's gonna start charging me just parking her driveway. But anyway, aside from that, think about ways. When we were sold this redevelopment, which is a public-private partnership, we gave away an awful lot. Businesses, churches, homes. We gave away an awful lot. Is there a way that we could bet that the folks that live here and stay here and pay taxes here could benefit and still use the beach and the parking the way that we used to, dog walking in the morning and that kind of thing? Think about that, because I think it's a quality of life issue. And, there are times that I do, go to Ocean Grove.
Carrie, I'm going to...
You're going to cut me off?
No, I'm not going to cut you off. But if you have questions pertinent to the ordinance and not statements about we'll listen to any questions about the ordinance we're in discussion.
You can cut me off. I appreciate it.
No, I'm going to invite you to the next parking committee meeting, and they're every month, and we love public input. And everything we've started has been a pilot program that, as Michael said, the residents have wanted. And if you didn't fill out the survey, I apologize. I'm sure you didn't get it because you're not in the zone. But the people in the zone said this is what they wanted. So we do listen, and we have changed and throughout the years. So it's the first Wednesday of every month at 5:30 in the city manager's conference room.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Taretha Jones on the metered parking. Once again, I have concerns because you extended to Grand Avenue. Those side streets, Emory, Sewell, Asbury Avenue, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, that's a bit much. And I'm going to tell you, I've been here, business here. I try not to come to Asbury Park. The only time I come to Asbury Park is to do paid parking to go to the Asbury Park Technical Academy of Dance. Other than that, I I don't, because it's insane and crazy. I want to know what people that you know, because the folks that I know that live in those areas don't want the paid parking, and they're the ones that don't have parking garages, they don't have driveways, they have to do on-street parking. Then if I come to, for example, I can think of 3 or 4 churches there, am I going to have to pay paid parking to go to church on Sunday? There needs to be more consideration here. I think we're getting so comfortable because it's a one-armed bandit. I mean, it's ching, 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 but it's hindering and it's creating quality of life issues for the residents here, not the $1 million folk coming in, the regular Joes here. So this needs to be some major reevaluation.
Thank you, Teresa.
Good evening, Pam Lambert at Sunset Drive. Looking at this ordinance, it looks like the area that's covered by paid parking is now going to be extended about a block further into the city.
It depends on which street you're talking about, but yeah.
Just about all of them.
Not on every street, no. It's really just looking at Asbury Ave, First Ave, and Third Ave.
And Monroe and Emory and Berg.
Monroe, the expansion is just one block for resident only.
You know what? I didn't mean just to start out. You're expanding the area that's covered by parking. You're increasing the fees for parking, and you're increasing the penalty for parking. From what I can see, parking is the revenue for the Asbury Park. I do not mind paying my $1, my $2 or whatever when I go park. It's the piece that we each pay. But this seems like a huge increase because it's everything. It's the area, it's the rate, and it's the penalty. Is there a reason, or do we need this particular money? Why are we doing it?
No, this is not about revenue. We've heard a lot of feedback. You know, as the mayor said, there's a parking committee meeting every month, and people come and give their input about what changes should be made. The expansion of the regulated area, as I said, was requested by residents in order to get more turnovers so they could find parking near their homes. The increase in the penalties is to avoid situations that we have, particularly in the highest demand season, where people are willing to pay the tickets instead of actually comply with the law in a lot of areas. And there's no increase proposed to parking meter fees, if that's what you were.
My arithmetic is wrong then. I thought changing from the annual to the quarterly looked like there was an increase.
No. The only change we're making there is what we're doing on a pilot basis is eliminating the annual employee parking permit and only having the quarterly, which we already had. And that's because there's kind of two things there. Well, the main thing is that we are going to be looking to construct a downtown parking garage, and hopefully that construction will start this year, and that may impact where employees are able to park. So instead of having the employees purchase a full year permit and then taking something away from them, what we're saying is we're going to evaluate employee parking this year on a month-by-month basis because the downtown parking garage construction might interfere with that.
Okay. It just seems there's not many ways that residents can be rewarded for persevering here in Asbury Park, and there are so many people who need the parking, and it's one of the few things the city can give the citizens a break on. So, and I did put in my application for the parking committee, so I hope I can join you.
Sure, I hope. I will say there is one change for residents that's actually beneficial in this ordinance. Currently, with the resident parking permits, residents can assign multiple vehicles to a single permit, but they are not permitted to park all the vehicles on the street at the same time. Only one vehicle can occupy a permit on street at any given time. What we are changing in this ordinance is in the off season, which we define, I believe, is April 15th to October 15th to April 15th, residents who have multiple vehicles assigned to a specific permit can park all of those vehicles on the street in that off season.
I did see that. We should publicize that. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tracy Rogers. Right now, can we personalize? Because I was with Carrie that morning, and $4 was ridiculous. There was not a single car. And if we go to 1 o'clock, could we actually change our internal to just $1? Because residents, basically want to come out in the morning locally to walk their dogs and everything else. Could we actually just change that one rate?
With the parking system we have the ability to set whatever rates at whatever times that would get the turnover that we need in order to, support the businesses and the whole community.
Yeah, those businesses don't open that early.
So, yeah, I think, one of the issues with Ocean, the issue with Ocean and with Cookman is they're the most on-demand streets for parking at any given time. And as much as, you might find it pretty empty on a Sunday morning, I assure you that on a Saturday night, it's
I
jam-packed.
agree. And I give you an example because in Newark, this is 3 years ago, I found out they were doing that where they weren't getting the parking revenue and they changed on-street parking to the same prices those parkings around New Jersey pack. So, and it was after 6. So if we can just say, up until 1 p.m., it can be $1, and that would help out the residents, and it'd be a suggestion. And I don't think it would hurt. Because I don't think anybody was out there. So just putting in the timing, we don't even have to change much or even visualize it when you put it in. It's just, we keep the same, documentation, but we can just change it in the computer and let people see.
Yeah, any changes that we make to the parking rates obviously have to be adopted by council in terms of in terms of an ordinance. But once that's done, yeah, we can make any changes on the back.
Lessen it, right?
Sure.
Any time, and I think that's what we also need to let out to, that we can change these things
Yeah.
individually.
Oh, absolutely. We could change the parking rate at any time, but again, it has to be adopted by a council ordinance.
Tracy, I just want to note that for those folks who want to go out and walk their dogs early on the weekends, you don't pay for parking before 9 o'clock. And during the winter, down by the oceanfront, there's 3 parking lots that don't charge for parking during the winter. So I just wanted to put that out there as well.
Okay, but we're like in front of North Beach and, just on that Ocean Avenue, our restaurants don't open till about noon, that changed. But like I said, it's just a discretionary in the timing in the computer to adjust it. And then it'll go right back at 1 o'clock.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Felicia Simmons. Felicia Simmons, so my question on the ordinance, a couple, is how much revenue would this new ordinance bring into the city? And I know you said earlier it's not about revenue, but just how much revenue would it actually bring in?
It's impossible to answer.
It's tough to estimate.
Loosely.
It's really tough to estimate. If it depends where the parking is, what time of year. There's a lot that can go into it. I will tell you that in general, a downtown parking space, like on Cookman, will bring in anywhere from like $5,000 to $7,000 a year. Okay. This is obviously in areas that are the areas that we're looking to expand. The metered parking are, in fact, mostly going to be taken up by residents with resident parking most of the year. The whole idea about regulating the parking is that it's not just a free parking space where what happens in the summer on the weekends especially is beachgoers and boardwalk employees will go to that free parking first, just a few blocks off the beach because it's free, and then the residents on those blocks say, well, I have nowhere to park. So the idea of expanding the permitting or the regulated parking is that it removes some of that free parking that's going on, and frankly, a lot of we find the police department finds that a lot of cars are not really abandoned, but are kind of left there. Extra cars are left in those areas and taking up valuable parking space, for the residents that would be kind of more turned over if it was metered regulated parking.
So, and that kind of leads into this. So if it's done for the benefit of the people of the community, and it's for high turnover, why not just put timed parking there and continue to keep it free? And if there's a substantial, go back to the revenue, substantial funding, is that can we use that to kind of offset some of our school funding, in the ordinance? That's just a solution. I mean, just something.
Yeah.
And
So I'll answer. The first part is, if we did just time limited parking, then that wouldn't really help the residents because then they would have to move their cars after 4 hours, and I don't think they'd be too happy about that.
I think paying the permit. I think they'll rather just shift like, New York City back and forth, instead of paying. Because again, paying that permit, it might help some who can afford that extra $100 a year, but it won't affect, what about the ones who can't afford that extra
No,
$100?
I understand.
It's
And,
still tight.
as much as, the permit is $100 a year and that's not nothing.
It's not.
If you look at what you would pay if you were parking there, paying for meter parking there all year, it'd be a lot more than that. And when you do the math, it ends up, to be like, I think a little over $1 a week or something. So,
A little bit.
it's not nothing, but it's definitely less than what the market rate for parking in the city has become.
Yeah, but it was free. So it's 100% increase. And second, just kind of this ordinance, reading this, looking over this ordinance and just the streets, it triggered something in our planning meeting about parking for the beach club. I just wanted to, kind of bring that up. I've noticed that there was a decrease in spacing in those areas naturally just by the new curbing and the toning of the curb. But this also meter parking would kind of increase specific parking spaces, or are they numbered? How many extra parking spaces would it increase? Specific.
I don't understand your question, and again, I don't think your question is relevant to the ordinance tonight. It has nothing to do with the beach club.
Let me be more specific. How many exact specific beach metered spots will be added to this area?
We haven't laid it out exactly yet. If I had to rough estimate, it's about a little over 200, probably 200-300.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Felicia.
Hi, Rita Morano. So you say it's not about the revenue. Belmar and Long Branch, they don't have meters in the winter months. So how come we have to have them?
Some towns do and some towns don't. Towns are coming off of state transitional aid, and how we got off of state transitional aid, and since we have an MOU with the state, we're keeping them all year.
Well, I'm sure Long Branch had financial aid.
No, they were never on transitional aid, and they're in much better shape than Asbury Park is and was.
So it is about revenue then.
No, as Michael Manzella said, and as you read Mr. Shoup's book, it's about an 85% turnover rate, so there's always available parking in every area. So it's about turnover, and it's about supply and demand and providing parking spots.
I know this is not a question, but how do we use our parking revenue?
Parking revenue, it used to be a parking utility, now it's a transportation utility, so the money has to be spent in the transportation field because it's funded by a utility.
So between that and the beachfront utility, I guess it doesn't really help us with our taxes, right?
Of course it does. If we use this money to help pave a street, we don't have to bond for it. Okay. So, I mean...
But you've been bonding.
Correct, and we reduce bonds as quick as we can also.
Mm-hmm. I hope 8th Avenue is on that list.
It's right up there.
Move to close.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Motion to adopt 2019-45?
Move it.
Second.
Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
Motion to close?
Everybody have a safe and happy Thanksgiving, and thank you kindly.
All in favor?
Yep.